Hi there, and welcome to another episode of the Astartes Anonymous podcast, where today we captured your regularly scheduled hosts, sealed them in a box, and posted them to a penal colony which puts the P in penal. I am joined by none other than a man with more appendages than should be possible, most of which are sticky. A man who, despite his short stature, could beat us all in a match of strength, and defies the nerd cliché by actually being married, and an insulin-deficient slop goblin.
Wow.
Who hates
Slop goblin, hell yeah.
who hates the continual degradation of all his favorite fantasy and sci-fi franchises. I am your host, Andy, aka the Remembrancer, and these are my co-hosts.
Oh, I guess, hi, I'm Hal. I run the Amber King channel, and if you can't come in her, come on her.
Oh, yuck. What was that?
Oh my gosh, man.
You know, it's actually better than the first one I wrote. It's
Oh my gosh.
the first one I wrote was I'd rather diarrhea in the sink than sink in the diarrhea.
Well, I got nothing to follow up on that. Holy cow. Oh my gosh. I'm Eli. I am DeadliftsForTheDarkGods. I'm a professional Astartes Anonymous time waster. And I must say, Andy, your introduction to me was very nice, and then it went into Collins and took a very, very sharp turn.
I know you can take it. It's fine.
Why'd you have to throw the pot shot in it like Halo and stuff? Unnecessary.
Checks notes, medical history, immediately insulted.
It's brand recognition, and he always calls himself like the slop purveyor, etc. So, like, I thought slop goblin. So, you know,
Fair enough. Oh, I was a
Speaking
fan
of
of that.
Colin,
Speaking of, I'm PancreasNoWork, and I'm from PancreasNoWork. My name is Colin. Man, I'm already
Amazing.
tripping over my own words, and I'm the best Nemesis Dead by Daylight player you've ever met.
yeah. To be fair, yeah, I've seen you play recently as Nemesis, and it has been quite engaging and fun. Although it looks fun, but also at the same time, like, I assume that Nemesis is not the best one to play as because there seems to be a meta.
He's actually resoundingly mid.
Colin and I are also the best Fortnite duo.
Uncontested champions, baby.
Yeah, baby.
And we should probably say we are LoreCrimes. We're taking over, baby.
Yeah,
Taking
Yeah.
over.
We killed and ate Astartes Anonymous.
Considering we are law criminals, we've actually locked Astartes Anonymous away, and we've thrown away the key. We'll see how long it takes them to get out. Probably a week, we'll see. But with that said, guys, today we're talking about something particularly fun. I don't know if this was spurred on by Eli or Hal, but I think one of the two of you, it was like, I know Eli specifically has been posting memes about this a lot, but I think it was Hal who actually gave the idea. In light of the recent Inquisitor Cotiez model, today we are discussing some of the ugliest miniatures in Warhammer 40k and fantasy history. And it should be a lot of fun just kind of riffing on some of the goobers that are made in the history of Warhammer.
There's quite a few certified GW bangers.
No, there isn't.
Yeah, and to be fair, less so me, but the other guys have all taken a batch of different miniatures they think are kind of goofy looking or fun. But before we get to that, Hal, is it time? I think we talk about the models of the week.
Yes, we've all picked out from the glorious Astartes. Oh God, I've been here twice. From the glorious Astartes Anonymous Discord, we've all picked out some of the models of the week. Shout out to Turbo Thorsten, who has done a great little Brutalis Dreadnought here. This is a one done in the Salamander style. I'm particularly like a big fan of this one, just because he's put a bit of cheeky, I assume that's a bit of cheeky freehand on the right-hand side. And again, like with a lot of like Salamander models, everyone goes a bit like over ham, like with the green. And I think he's done quite a good job of like just having the green be more of like the accent, because I think particularly Salamander's green can make it sometimes look a bit goofy. And I do have some Salamanders myself, but he's done a pretty good job with this Brutalis. Also, the base of the model, it generally looks like realistic, like rock, and I'm quite impressed. So
I do like the go faster stripe on the right side as well.
yeah, I don't know what the orcs would do with that. And maybe it makes them horny. I don't know. But, anti-turbo
Okay.
Thorsten.
Oh,
Brother, you
gosh.
need to do something. You get to line up together.
Oh, I honestly, anyone who can use transfers correctly is like already
Oh, God.
an expert to me. Yeah, like teach me your ways, please. I cannot use a transfer without like flipping my table and destroying my house out of pure anger from just destroying the transfer by accident every single time.
I must say, I was at an event the last few days, and I sent a message to Colin just being like, dude, I found some more fucking Genesis chapter Marines. What the fuck's going on? And they had great transfers, to be fair.
Nice.
But speaking of which, Colin, would you like to mention the model you picked out from the mini of the week?
I would be delighted to. This one is a model that is sure a model. I know Eli has a love-hate relationship with it. I look at that and go, damn, that sure is a lot of trim. It's a Heldrake by Lord Fishchin.
It's a funny name.
It's got some nice. I like how I don't know what color is that. Gray. We're gonna go with gray. That's not a problem with the model. That's a problem with I forgot the name for a color. The color on the right wing is I don't know why. I just like that it's very just even. It doesn't look like there's any. You can tell too many like brush strokes. Gold always good and big model. I'm very easy to sway with big model.
Particularly for that model, if you did that by hand with a brush, that color probably is quite hard to get a smooth coat with as well. Like the GW colors are particularly difficult, like Corax White. I spit on your family's name.
I've changed to the Acro Pro or whatever. They're white. I like quite a lot.
You don't get to see a Heldrake that often. They actually are a cool model. Shame it's like it could probably poke out your child's eye, but like it is nice.
It is a big wingspan.
Yeah, well, that's why I love this model because it's freaking like just look at it. It's amazing. But every time you want to go anywhere with it, its arms will fall off. You could look at it and its arms will fall off.
Arms more infamous than Abaddon.
It's impossible to store as well. Even if you buy like the custom foam things, it's still a pain.
Yeah.
But I did want to mention, maybe I don't know if you noticed the model in the background, Colin. There's a Doom wheel that's kind of based, as the kids say. This guy's got the Skaven desktop background. He's got the Battle Scribe in the top left, right by Roblox.
I see War Thunder. I'm looking forward to the leaked state secrets to come from you, Lord Fishchin.
This guy's got a lot of space on his computer. Look at all these video games. Very nice. Lots of space on your computer. Lots of space on your desk being taken up by the gigantic Heldrake wingspan. Very good. We love it.
What's the next one, brothers?
Well, I chose, by no surprise, there was a miniature put up by Saucy IRL, which is a White Scars. Is it not a dreadnought? It's a
I don't remember what it's called.
Invictus Warsuit.
A Warsuit, yes, yeah. And I, to be honest, I saw the lightning bolt and I went, "That's the one I'm picking."
Pretty,
but I do love the contrast of the colors. The base is really nice with the like little bit of like what's it called? The thing with the barbed wire wrapped around that's like to prevent tanks from
tank trap,
like the big cross shaped thingy.
Isn't that just called a tank trap?
Yeah, for some reason I kept thinking caltrops, and I was like, no, caltrops are the little itty bitty things that are used.
Cows,
not cow.
When you throw an entire cow in front of a Victor's Warsuit,
but 4 cows. I mean,
but yeah, it's I find that because of the lore of White Scars as well, people don't tend to make many dreadnoughts or big heavy stuff because it's kind of against their stuff. But I like the fact that this guy's just chilling in the cockpit, like, no, it's fine. I can go back on the planes if I want. I can get back and roam on my motorbike. It's fine.
Yeah.
I just like this dual barreled massive gun on my arm and being taller than my bros. It's pretty cool. I love it.
He's a White Scar with multiple interests. He can be big and stompy when he wants.
He's a based scar, as we might say.
Quite good freehanding on the helmet as well, by the way. That's probably really tricky to get to.
This model is very pretty. I like it a lot. Also,
even the little detail with the little Mechanicus logo on the back as well.
Oh, yeah.
That's on most dreadnoughts. Oh, no, actually, no. No, it's not. Oh, he's painted it. Did he paint it on that? Or
I think.
I can't remember. I have 2 Redemptor Dreadnoughts. I can't remember if it's there or not.
Oh, but I like it. The Invictus actually does fit quite well with the White Scars. I never thought about that. I wasn't always a fan of this model, but this is changing my mind. This is really cool.
I like the model is very well painted. I still don't like the Invictus.
Yeah, that's fair. Would it not make sense to have like a plasteel cockpit instead of an open cockpit? Isn't that a little silly? Oh, actually,
I would say for lore reasons, the White Scars probably want to feel the wind on their face regardless. So it's like it's the best of both worlds.
Speaking of the cockpit, like looking at the larger picture of this, the abdominal section of the Space Marine is painted and highlighted. That's really nice. I feel like I've not seen that before. I like that a lot.
Nice attention to detail.
Speaking of cockpits, though, Eli, what have you brought to the table?
Speaking of cock, what?
Oh my gosh!
Yuck.
I chose Ponk is Emperor's Children or just general pink models. There's a Raptor here and a Noise Marine and more Space Marines. You know, they're Emperor's Children and they're pink, and pink models have a special place in my heart. And also this Raptor, the pink around his left eye and mouth looks really cool. And you've also like used purples and stuff. I think I can see under it. Yeah, very pleasing to me. The pink on the foot also looks really nice.
Yeah, little stripe of pink on the chain blade highlight as well.
Yeah,
little bits here, like nice, not too much, not too little, just nice accentuating bits, which is nice.
Me likey.
It's cool to see like the classic Emperor's Children color scheme, because you don't like a lot of it is you don't get to see like that more. You know, like I imagine on a tabletop, like if there's full army like that, it's actually quite satisfying to see it all.
Yeah, also this Noise Marine, first of all, it's the classic guitar Marine, which is really cool. I really want that model, but it's hard to spend $60 on a model. I mean, Canadian. I like the blue hair and the orange breastplate with the gold. It's kind of like the lower accurate freaking like crazy flashy colors that the Emperor's Children have. And the red guitar.
I'm very impressed with the first model, the free-handed Emperor's Children pauldron with the logo. That's quite impressive. Where it's got the wings and each like little bit of stroke of the brush. That's brilliant.
I'm gonna send you a message in the Discord because I love it. Yes, very good. All right,
awesome, boys. Awesome, loving it. We're loving it. We're loving it. Well, with that being said, though, we looked at some nice models. Boys, it's time to get. It's time to get.
Some rank models.
Time to throw out that stanky leg and pray to the god because we're about to look at some abominations. And not just abominations in my sense of humor. We've got quite a list today for all the listeners out here. We'll try to describe them just for some of the audio listeners out there. But again, this might be an episode where you've got to look at what's on offer, because this is a special serving today, and they basically can't stop us, the Astartes Anonymous, from talking about it. Colin, would you like to bring up the first one? I think you brought this to the table here.
Sure. I'll bring up the first ones. So the first one I'd like to bring up is from one of the original Sisters of Battle kits.
Oh.
And it's part of that kit. Is pretty cool. It's the Sisters of Battle, an old metal kit, but they still look cool. And then you have the lady with the Edna Mode haircut from.
I was thinking the same thing. It's incredible. It's literally Edna Mode. No cape, darling.
With the unbelievably thick glasses. Like that woman is super blind, I'm assuming. She's just kind of like Soy Jack with her mouth going. Either that or she's like a Dementor from Harry Potter and she's about to suck my soul out.
She reminds me of Wallace and Gromit.
I was thinking that exact same thing.
You know what? That kind of looks like it too. I think my main problem with it is like remove the head and the model is good.
Yeah,
it's pretty decent, but her face is so goofy.
What's wrong with your face?
We just bring attention to how ginormously, first of all, modern that speaker staff looks, but also how big. That's like a dinner plate the size of her head. That thing is beefy.
Frick. Yeah, without the head, this is actually a really cool model.
Without the head, I like it a lot. Like she's holding a giant like Inquisition Sucroll. Like she's got
I cannot believe what you chose for the next
scroll
one. I'm interrupting.
all the way down. I've got things to say about that model. All right,
This is unbelievable.
Yeah,
This is
we'll talk
unbelievable.
about
I
it.
can't.
Colin, would you like to describe the next model?
Yeah, we'll move on from Sister Shoved in Locker or whatever we want to call
We'll move on from
this.
Edna mode.
Yeah. The next model I chose was the Red Terror.
I'm going to kill
I gotta
you.
be honest. I hate this model so
How dare you?
Oh, let's go. How about I'll start with being nice to it, right? We'll start with kindness. Looking at this thing, I can tell that the idea is good. Like what they wanted to do, I like it. I like the idea. Now let's stop being nice to it. We'll just look at those like talon claws, whatever thing. They're way too thick. Like that look, it looks like they're supposed to be like, they're blades, they're claws, they're piercing weapons. It looks like Guts' sword. Like it's just a big.
It's a door stopper. That's how thick that is.
Yeah, it's just a big slab of iron it bolted to its carapace. It's like, oh, good enough.
I see no problem with this.
Yeah, I'm sure you don't. I gotta be honest. I'm not a fan of the man-catcher tail, but I'm even less of a fan than anything else I imagine being in its place. Looking at its body is unpleasant. I like the Tyranids as bugs, and this stupid thing is a circumcised snake because it has open all across it. Like it looks like it's been cut apart. And its mouth. I hate its mouth.
I think the head's good, though. I think the head's actually good.
I think the head looks like someone punched an elite from Halo until their upper jaws fused into one.
It had to have an operation, yeah.
Is unpleasant. This was half jaw's operation to get a full jaw again.
Trying to figure out what this model looks like is like looking at it hurts my eyes.
It's a
I think is
circumcised
awesome.
snake.
Whenever I see this model and I see the tail, though, I just think of Toy Story with that claw and just
saved our lives. We're eternally grateful.
I don't like it. I do not like the old Red Terror. Please fix.
I don't hate it because it's not like ugly enough to be iconic.
You say Red Terror, it should be called the Red Era.
All right.
Ooh.
Get him out of here.
Oh, look at it! Look at his teeth, though. Like he's got like an ingrown jaw.
It looks like extremely alien, though. You gotta give it credit for that.
Yeah, it could look alien. I want it to look good and alien. The Tyranids have plenty of good alien-looking models. This thing, I don't like it. I don't look at it. Look at its right arm, which is on the left. What is going on at the little joint there? Like, what am I looking at?
It has a strange Dead Space necromorph-esque quality to it, where it's like, that shouldn't be there. It's like it's been put together post-haste.
I don't hate it.
I really like it.
It also fails at being a Dead Space necromorph because the bits that should be thin and spindly are thick and like meaty and clumpy. It's like they were trying to make a stealth thing and they made it like too bulbous. But it's also too thin to be properly terrifying.
I feel like this one's been roasted enough, to be fair.
It's too fat, too skinny. I hate it.
I love him. I love you, Red Terror. Don't let him talk to you like that. It's okay, baby.
Then how about as a peace offering, we move on to something no one's gonna suggest is good.
The guy at the bottom alone is just giving me like weird vibes.
In their defense, like half of these models are really cool, and then the other half are just like.
Look at that main guy up front. Look at his sword.
For the listeners, what models are these?
He's famous.
I don't know. If it wasn't for the fact that he's like shredded, I feel like he'd be a Yorkshire baker called like John. Like what is going? He's just like, all right, I'm John.
Just for the listeners, boys, which models are these ones? These are the
Katakan jungle fighters.
Honestly, the rest of every other model in this squad looks really cool.
You know what? I don't hate it, but the guy in the bottom middle is, that meme of like that face you pull when you're in trouble with the teacher and your friend looks at you. It's literally that face, and that you're trying not to laugh because you don't want to get in more trouble.
He has that look of like, have I left the iron on at home? Like that's the look of like mid battle, just going. Shit.
Megatron, these edibles ain't shit.
Wave, I'm driven.
You forgot to take the chicken out the freezer, and your mum's car is pulling into the.
I mean, it might.
All right. I do have some genuine criticisms beyond funny face. Although funny face is, good God, look at it. The arms of a lot of them look like like Lego kits. How you fit, like you just plonk them on.
Especially the right corner
could be the
guy,
paint job,
like at the
though.
bottom.
Like right corner, top left with the flamer, especially. Also, the two that have melee weapons, those actually just look like Lego swords. Like that is not a sword. They're thick. I'm not a fan.
The leftmost guy is pretty dang cool.
Yeah, there's not, the whole kit isn't, just bad. It's just like overall, it's not great. It's not good.
Yeah.
I think that I'll be as nice as I can and say that if they spent like another week cooking this up, designing, could have been an all-time classic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Instead, all we will ever remember this by is that dude on the front.
With the jowls. He's got the jowls, and it's like
Wow.
it's like his whole body was worked out to perfection apart from his face. It's like just got the flabby cheeks. I don't get it. Like Eli, you do fitness. Is that possible?
He looks like the conductor from Thomas the Tank Engine. Oh God, what's his name again? Yeah, the Fat Control. He had a name. I don't remember. It's been forever.
His first name was Fat, second name Controller.
Speaking of jowls, what's the next model, Colin?
This is a returning with the old world in the Dwarf Army, an absolute classic. The Imperial Dwarfs.
Thing is, they are charming. They're extremely charming.
They're very charming. For a slight, lore reference, there are some dwarfs who live in the Empire of Man, and that you can tell that they're not wearing proper dwarf armor. They've got the funny German armor. They've got a lot of funny things about them. For example, the dwarf on the far right, that is a meatball. That is not a dwarf. That is a meatball.
I'm pretty sure that's been an extra in the background of some film, like just disappointment embodied. That guy's not having it.
The thing is, he's so sassy. I love how sassy he is. It's like, that meme of the guy who's at the football game, he just goes and he looks at the camera. He's that guy, but like in dwarf form. I love him.
Score some fucking goal.
Water.
What other great things are? They're not actually holding their spears like spears. They're holding them in their palm at the bottom of the spear. The spears are bendy.
Is the second to right one? Is his one floating in his hand?
It might be. It kind of looks like it from
Wait, are they all like the one on the far right as well? It's like it's floating in his hand.
That's because that's his meatball gravity well.
The thing is, they're not knights. They're waiters. They're just Monsieur. I have le spear. Merci. That's the whole thing.
The spears are comical because the spear flat is the size of their faces.
Yeah, they've also got the old Warhammer dwarf model problem that their heads are a solid 30% of their body.
Big brain.
I don't. Looking at these things, you read dwarf lore, you look at some of the good dwarf models, and then you look at these, and then you try and make them meet in the middle, and they refuse. And I think as a final insult, slightly unrelated to the model, is that this is $52 for an old metal kit that looks like this.
Jeez. If I wanted my Liverpool hooligans in dwarf armor, I would make them. Speaking of, maybe not. I would say fair. On this one, I think they are ugly, but like in a charming way. But the next one, though, Colin, would you like to describe what you've brought to the class?
Well, these bad boys are none other than Skaven gutter runners from fantasy that have still survived into. Oh no, these are night runners. Pardon me. Gutter runners are a similarly awful kit, but the night runners had more things to make fun of, so we're talking about them.
They're like raptors. Like their teeth, like their faces are like.
There's something, all right.
Well, the first problem is that these are supposed to be Skaven like clannish stealth units. These rats are built like brick shit houses. This is not a stealth unit. This is someone who's going to beat you to death in a parking lot.
Near a Dave and Buster's for some reason.
Average Croydon resident.
They have swords as big as them.
Yeah, they don't have like assassin's daggers. They have great swords, Dark Souls. Their faces look derpy. The way they're posed, a solid half of these guys look like they're preparing to take the fattest shit you've ever seen. And it's, again, I suppose very Skaven, but it doesn't look good.
Man about to post a warning outside of the temporary toilets.
I don't even know how to describe it. They're rats. The faces, the rat faces look so rat. It like if you were a rat and you looked at these, it'd be like Uncanny Valley for a rat. Like,
You know, it does look like cosplay. It looks like cosplay.
It does, yeah, but it's a model.
It's just stirring in my mind, like when Skaven FC loses the game and you go outside, and be like, we'll go deck the other guy, like especially the guy on the top right with like
You get jumped by these guys.
yeah, he's holding the knife on the tip of the point. It's like that's pretty sassy. I like that.
I feel like they sing a musical when they walk away. Speaking of something that probably produces horrible music, though, a bit more of like a more slightly modern, well, not really a modern model, but we're going into a bit more earlier/later models here. We have the Chaos Spawn as it currently is. Now, I think one of them on the top left for the people watching, this is one with the two red horns in the art depictions. That one is fine. What I mean is there's one here in the bottom right-hand corner, and this thing is like is a blob with a hole in their forehead.
What'd that mouth do, baby? What'd that mouth do?
This thing is like thick, chunky. It's built like a deep
How
breath.
dare you? He's perfect just the way he
It
is.
has a butthole with teeth on its front as its mouth.
Truly as it should be.
I can't see the mouth as because if you look below the mouth, there's like a crease of its skin, and to me that looks like the mouth and two eyes, and it's just like a chill-looking dude. If you look at that, he's just like,
He kind of looks like a Monsters Inc. monster.
yeah, exactly.
I also question the modeler's choice to give him the thickest carpet of pubic hair I've seen in my life.
I was gonna say, I was just thinking that
Bro does not have a bush; he has undergrowth.
he's flawless. He's flawless. There's absolutely nothing wrong with him. I love him.
I suppose it is kind of fitting, but his right hand arm thing.
It's a deformed sausage.
It looks like a cross between
It's so ugly.
red sugar from Deep Rock Galactic combined with like leftovers from a circumcision.
Okay.
In the name of Boingob, that is horrific.
He's beautiful. I love him.
Look, I didn't say something that out of pocket last time on AA. Now that we've taken over, I had to fill it in.
I've said some foul stuff.
I say the vibe he's going for at the moment is like albino Resident Evil villain, like the tentacles, the weird growth Ouroboros-esque looking arm thing. It's a weird mix.
I will say I like the model a lot. I don't like it because it's good. I like it because it's so stupid and derpy looking. Deploying that thing to the field, it's like, oh, how can you feel bad for him? Plus, you also got, if you want to play like Slaves to Darkness or something, you kind of need one because one of your guys might turn into a Chaos Spawn if you're rolling the God's table.
That's how 40K used to be.
Even older model of the edition, we have the first female space marine.
So we're getting into a fight is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Not a weird house with the comments.
Is this one called Debbie or something? I'm pretty sure it's like Debbie.
Debbie?
Should we start? Oh yeah, no, this is straight up real.
Trader era.
Should I start with the single kind thing I have to say?
Sure.
Okay.
I like the rainbow effect on the sword. That's very cool.
Yeah,
that's a very
cool.
well done painting thing. Where is her torso? No, how about we get to the face later? Where is the torso?
Where are her organs? Where are her organs? She is an anime character. What's going on here?
She's proportioned like a stick figure in power armor.
You know what's really bugs me is the leather gloves.
It is icky. I don't like looking at it. It makes me sad.
I mean,
that bolter is horrendous. Looks like you could make that out of Play-Doh.
I mean, that will probably be 20 years from now where it's like, maybe like we might even see the real thing, let's be honest. But that, like, if someone says like, oh no, they've done it before, and they point to this thing.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Man.
Looking at this is unpleasant.
It's just the fact that her head is the size of her torso is very
That's
uncanny.
also a bad thing.
Really icky.
Shout out to the guy I went to school with who actually had a face exactly like that.
Oh my gosh. Poor guy.
That's fucking rude.
In proportions, yeah, like a massive head.
You know who you are.
Oh man, who doesn't like? No, well, who doesn't like the next model? Who put that there?
Okay,
What the
the next
Mouths.
model is the
Why does CW have a fetish for putting crotches on fronts, like mouth crotch?
Speaking of putting mouths and butthole mouths on ends of draping things, we have, I think it's the original Zinch Flamers. These ones are, I mean, I don't hate it, but
Freaky.
like, the one that the two on the left are fine, and I look at the one on the right.
The one on the right.
Yeah, the one on the
He's
right.
coming to suck you up.
It's just that meme of the three dragons where it's just like serious, looking to the other one, the one going, oh, its tongue sticking out. Yeah.
Does anyone else hear the one on the right yelling? Like you just hear it.
With the Dawn of War area, the Dawn of War commander yelling.
Classic.
You're doing all right. Yeah, he's over there. Kevin, you're right. He's fine. He does it all the time.
I'll give it some credit. I like it's weird, like Tzeentch should be.
It's Tzeentch.
Yeah, a lot of some Tzeentch models I think are they're good, but they're not as weird as you want to be. Like I love the Lord of Change.
Yeah.
It's just a big bird, dude. I'm not saying that strictly speaking as a criticism, because I love the model. But this is weird and unpleasant to look at in that good chaos way.
Yeah.
I suppose like a Lord of Change could be, if you didn't know it was like a Tzeentchian demon, it could be misconstrued as like a weird Xenos, was like, oh, they're a bird species. They don't really have the same like mutilations of flesh and weird eyeballs popping up. Like they have weird like double-headed things, but like we have a precedent with that with humans. It's like it's not that weird, but that's something else. That's like Looney Tunes demon.
I don't hate it, but funny enough, with some models, sorry, Eli, do you want to say something?
No.
I say with some models, like you think, you know what? As Colin was saying, you maybe get like it's a good concept, and I can't wait for them to update it. So speaking of the next model, here is the updated version of it. And this one is, I think, another flavor of Tzeentch, updated in big brackets, because this thing is a bit like...
Yeah.
This thing is worse than the other ones.
He's got an issue that a lot of the new demons do. He kind of just looks like he's out of a cartoon.
Well, the thing is, the top of his head. Have you guys ever seen the film The Labyrinth?
No.
Oh, with yeah.
There's like a scene where there are these two doorknobs, which like you have to knock on them. They like bicker at each other. His head looks exactly like one of the doorknobs' heads, where it's like got the nose in the mouth. I'm like, I can't unsee it. It's weird.
I think the starting point for this was them taking inspiration from the one on the right of the original kit, which is the worst one. And then they decided, yes, this will be our flagship flamer.
And then the bottom mouth is just Homer when he goes to hell and he's being force-fed. That's him there.
The flames really let it down.
The flames look so bad.
Yeah.
It's just too bad.
They look flowery. Like this reminds me of Millennia more than anything. Like the scarlet rot flowers.
And like, why are there so many little flames on the bodies? Like they're distracting. Have the flames coming out the mouth, I accept, but like I don't want like pore flame, like flames coming out of the pores of the skin. That's just weird. Like, no, keep it in the mouth.
The Mandem is truly spicy on every orifice. Speaking of something that I don't even want to make a joke about it. The next model, Colin, can you please take over?
Ariel, my beloved of the wood elves.
Why am she moth?
Because she's an incarnate. She's an incarnate of Isha and is the nature goddess of the wood elves.
Imagine a battle with her, and you just have like a gigantic fluorescent light bulb. And you're like, come here, it's like just wanders towards you.
She has that like first edition Warhammer Fantasy look.
Oh yeah, she does. That she looks severely inbred.
Could Colin describe it for the audio listeners, just to give us the true,
of course,
deserving respect it needs?
Of course, she's holding some sort of staff. It just doesn't look good. I'm trying to think of some clever to say about it. It's just the staff looks way too chunky and weird. The bottom left of it also looks vaguely like a toe, and that might just be me projecting, but it kind of does.
It's like an elephant's toe. Ugh.
Her butterfly wings are they're kind of cool looking. I'll give them that. That's mostly the paint job, though. Yeah. I think these could have been done a lot better, and wings have been done better by GW since on all sorts of armies. Her face, you know that King Charles II of Spain?
Mr. Inbred.
Habsburg guy who was just the culmination of the Habsburg family Christmas wreath. She looks like that. Her right, no, that's left hand. I don't think she has 5 fingers on her left hand. It could just be obscured by her headdress, which also looks like shit.
How long those fingers?
I just looked up this guy. Oh my gosh, that's quite a face.
When they cut open his brain, it was full of water.
That's in my brain now. Oh my gosh, I don't want to see that again.
She looks like that. I don't know what else to say.
Was she like Habsburg Riz, Habsburg.
I think, and well, this isn't entirely fair on the old modelers because they had like 40 years and a video game to do it in. I look at the Total Warhammer Ariel, and it's like that is gorgeously designed and everything. And then I look at this, and I'm like, this is Ariel's like lesser known sibling who was dropped on her head as a child.
It might be the ugliest.
It's not good. GW, until pretty recently, all things considered, has not made female faces very good.
Yeah.
Women did not have good faces.
Oh, man.
To be fair, very few people had good faces in old GW days, but women had it the worst.
The Sisters of Battles model have all been pretty good lately, I feel
Oh,
like.
yeah, like ever since that launch, they've gotten better with it, but olden times...
Can I get an Ursula Creed in the chat?
That's not a badly designed face, though. She's just not pretty, and she's a war veteran from Kenya.
The thing is, though, I think the pitfall whenever you're sculpting like a female elf is the line between like lean, pointy features to plastic surgery is very fine. And she kind of looks like she lives in LA, and she's a bit of a soccer mom, and she's like, I'll have you know, I'll call the manager if you don't bring me my latte with a little bit of syrup in and not too much, so it's not too sweet. Like, all right, calm down.
It's like, Andy, you remember like from the Fireside Fantasy and the elves, I showed you some of the pictures. Like the elves are very lean and like almost ghostly looking, but they don't look like that.
No,
they don't look like that scene from the Simpsons movie where the newscaster runs out of Botox mid report and has to bow tie his face back.
Speaking of facelifts, though, we've got now.
Are these ogres?
These are ogres, I believe.
Those are ogres.
I think these guys. I kind of like these guys.
They look like beasts, but I
think they're fun.
They might be beastmen, to be fair.
The chainmail fingerless glove is very funny.
All right, I like that one a lot. I don't like what I'm looking at with this face.
They are ugly.
I was going to say, does anyone else have anything beyond they just look ugly?
I think they're meant to be ugly, funny enough.
They're fun models. I like.
Be ugly and not look bad.
I just don't know what makes sense. The middle one's like right shoulder. Is that like an iron or something? I don't know what he's got.
It kind of looks like one of those like gothic arches that like the Imperium everywhere.
It's like an iron.
These are very. This is like
he's Iron
Edition D&D type style.
Which, this is from 2000 though. Like GW was well past making D&D products by that point.
Yeah, this looks like an 80s model, 70s.
I feel like this model looks like what a derivative of Games Workshop would make. Like, we don't have as good machines or sculptors or whatever, so we want to like emulate what Games Workshop do, but make it distinctly different. And this is what would happen. It's like that doesn't look up to snuff, no matter how you slice it. Although, is that one in the middle? Is he carrying like a blunderbuss in his right hand? What is that? Can't tell what it is.
I don't know. It's literally like a clothes iron on it. Okay. Speaking of something that is kind of up to snuff in some people's books,
my word!
The Screamer Killer, the original,
my beloved.
What if the Joker was eaten by a gene stealer? What is this?
This thing. Can someone else please, Eli? Can you describe this for the beautiful?
I don't know how I got these claws. Like that's what I'm getting from this guy.
How do you even? I don't. It's a Tyranid. It has 4 claws. It has a big old gene stealer face, but the claws are like attached by tiny little arms, so it can only like snap at you. They're like pincers.
It's like a crab, a forward crab.
It looks like a mini black hole is where its chest is.
It's that beautiful it's that beautiful first edition Warhammer look.
That head is sunken deep into his chest. Is that what happens to like a Tyranid if you get like just smacked on the head with a thunder hammer and he just survived?
Ooh. Yeah.
This thing is.
He looks like he's in pain. Put him down.
Do you know that? That execution in the Doom games where the Doom guys literally just goes like bump and the guy's head goes into his torso. So it's like plump. That's this guy.
Where do his shoulders begin and his head end?
All is one.
And I do actually kind of like the face it's pulling though. Like it generally looks psychotic.
Has anyone ever watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? You know the brain in the jar?
Yeah.
That's what its face reminds me of. Crane.
He's like the Tyranid Modok.
My wife loves that show and the movies.
It's to be fair, that's like iconically bad. Like I would actually buy it because it's so. Like, every time I see it, I laugh.
Yeah, it's like novelty.
Speaking of something that's like maybe not quite on the humor setting, but it's a bit more modern. We have a Forge World original Galvor back. Now, the reason this is here is because these things just fall apart. They are resin models that require perhaps the most ridiculous amount of cleanup anyone has to do on models, and they are utterly outshone by everything else that was Horror Heresy. Man,
resin models are truly like GW's biggest
their legs, like they've skipped leg day for models that like should be Space Marine like esque size. Like some, don't get me wrong, some bits are cool. Like some arms, like rotated, like mutated arms, and like some of their helmets are pretty damn cool. But like, there's just so many parts of that model which is just like, like it's not. It doesn't look right. Like the concept is really good, and the execution is not.
They're kind of big. Like I see a comparison here to a regular Marine. Do they have new models? I thought they did. Or is it only Argol Tal who has the new model?
Argol Tal did get like he got rizzed up. He got the good.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at it now. It's got the wings. Oh, he's balling.
I must say, I don't like the guy at the top right. I can't see him too well because he's really. It's almost like the photographer's like put him way back so we can't see him properly. And I'm like, it like if I were to squint, it doesn't look like there's much going on with him. He just kind of looks a bit out of place considering the other guys have got like these big horns coming out of their helmets. This guy's got like several mandible hand things, and it's got this guy like Philip in the background, like I'm a Galvor back too. It's like put him at the back. Don't worry about him.
We've all hidden in the crowd in like a school photo, okay? Speaking of something like this thing, okay, the next one is ugly. But this, I want to show an example of like good ugly. This is the only exclusive Demon Prince model I believe made, and it was of it's a Nurgle Demon Prince. Now this thing is apparently hell to assemble. It is truly like
I would bet.
Like apparently. Like it just doesn't fit together. Like it's a resin, unfortunately. This
sense.
thing is like it's not possible without doing this with like green stuff or mirror.
I have this model, but I have the metal model of this around, and I mean this picture, in my opinion, he looks pretty freaking great.
He is the first Plague Marine.
He's my problem with Nurgle. He's my problem with Nurgle is that even when you do him well, it looks awful. I just don't like looking at this thing. I don't like his fucking fupa.
Yeah, the spilling like belly fat doesn't really make him that scary.
Hashtag belly rolls. You got blood for the blood god, flab for the flab god.
I like the shoulder with the skin missing.
That is cool.
And I like the gun on his arm. And the big old sword with the chains.
The face though.
Yeah.
It's not intense. It does pretty bring like the vibes.
It's so stupid.
This is the guy at the football game, the English guy. That's
This is like leave our Brexit geezer alone.
Score some goals, England.
Garden's looking lovely today.
Meet with the wife, Susan. Love it. Got corrupted by Nurgle.
You know, this next one, I'm looking at it, that seems very rude because that's just Ferrus Manus.
Now, the next model, my beloved, is Ferrus Manus.
But it's true. His mod.
Yeah, the reason why Ferrus Manus is here is because he is the ugliest of all the Primarch models, unfortunately.
Well, he's also mid himself, so who cares?
Hey, shush you.
The thing is, the pose is good though, because like I like how you can see the momentum he's swinging, the hammer, the chains of like his I guess like crotch area, they're swinging with the momentum. So you're like, there are sometimes models where you just kind of look at them, like the Lehman Russ one, where you're like, what is he doing? Looking over here and swinging over here. That doesn't make sense. But like, at least this one's consistently like, I understand he's called the Gorgon for a reason, but the model itself, I do like the little flourishes.
The painter has done a good job on his face. Although most times I've seen this model, his face is like it's just ugly, bad, like not in a good way.
You have to be an extremely good painter, otherwise this model just looks like an absolute mess in real life. Especially like the backpack just looks terrible.
Boy, that looks like it'd be nightmarish.
Yeah, I've seen this model in real life, and like even if you're like a fairly good painter, it still just looks really bad.
Mid-model for a mid-Primarch.
His armor is pretty cool. I like his leg.
His armor design is good though, but as in, I'm not a fan when models like essentially like they're almost like hiding their central part, like his arms are crossed over his body, so you don't really.
It doesn't help that also his backpack is so busy. It's like, all right, not being funny. You need a plasma gun and a surgical tool and a saw bow. Like, no, you could just like have something rather than every conceivable thing. I understand he's like the tech guy, but you'd feel like he might be able to like.
Do you need all of this in a war zone?
Yeah. He's that guy who's like, I need the 40 kg bags on my flight, and I need to pack all of these clothes and all these things. Like, do you need to bring all this stuff? Yeah, I do. Bad.
Ironically, if it had a cape, like a Mechanicus-looking robe cape, I think that would kind of turn it into what it needed to be. But
maybe some chains with the different clan logos on it or something hanging. I like that. But
He looks cool unpainted. Like his unpainted model actually looks pretty cool.
Yes, good. Before you do the thing you do with the model, it looks good.
I actually have a proxy of this model that I'm going to paint up. It'll be very cool. I think I won't put the head on though. But speaking of turning heads though,
you better cannon, baby. It's beautiful. Blood Bowl, my beloved.
But Andy, could you describe this one to the audio listeners, please?
Goblin orc with boobies.
Most beautiful woman alive.
Boobies.
Anything for you, my queen.
Average British pub here.
Average Weatherspoons resident.
It's peak.
This is the orc cheerleader from Blood Bowl, I believe.
It's peak. It's got the green colored base, so you know it's vintage. She has golden nipple tests.
Why are those little floopers like hanging down to her waist though?
Because it's an orc.
God, this one is truly like ugly, but it comes back around to being like so funny. Like I enjoy
It's
it.
awesome.
He's missing a leg day as well. My God, the feet are enormous. I think the right foot's bigger than the left.
Just the right size.
Also, the left teat, shall I say, is also longer than the right one. I might have to blur that. To be fair, oh my God.
This is the peak. This is the peak physical woman.
I love orc minis.
You may not like it, but this is peak physical performance.
This is beauty standards.
Now,
the next model, here we go. This is where we're going to have some disagreements.
yeah, what's wrong with Karn?
I put Karn in here for one simple reason. First of all, it's just so like the pose is awful. The pose is awful. Because, well, first of all, if you have Karn in like on the tabletop in person,
What do you mean?
he's actually like just a
What's wrong
tiny
with it?
bit smaller than like just your other Chaos Space Marines. So it's a bit odd. Secondly,
It's probably because he was made before the new Chaos Space Marines, to be fair.
he was, but like there are other models that come out at that time, which were like again, like they are posed much better. I like every element on this model, but I despise his pose so much because it honestly looks like someone's falling over and leaning. Like it doesn't look aggressive. Like his arm is straight out rather than like being angled and like coming down.
From a different angle that isn't this picture, I can imagine it looks weird.
Not being funny, him charging into battle with those like skulls hanging by like his like, I can see how he's tripping up over them. Like, oh, I should really get rid of these. They're not very efficient.
This model makes me think of Doom, like just the kneecap skulls, especially, and the freaking crush skull. Yeah, definitely it is. It is.
Doom combined with Brutal Legend. Yeah.
Being reminded of Doom is a good thing. So I'll just say it.
Whoever put this next model, how dare you?
Just finishing on Karn, there's a reason why so many people often get 3D printed or proxy model for Karn. Like they basically put the helmet on another thing because they're just like, the posing just not that exciting. But the next one here, this is
classic.
A beauty. It is kind of ugly. Eli, obviously, Eli, do you like to describe it to our audience?
It's one of the classic ethereal models, and he's got the goofy freaking, I don't even like the scepter things that are definitely not usable as weapons at all.
I'm going to be honest. I think with all respect to whoever painted it, I think a lot of the problems here is just like this isn't a great paint job. Like looking at it, I don't think that the model itself is too bad.
Oh, he's got a really long beard. Actually, it was hard to see.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the model's cool. It definitely is just like a casual paint job.
Like the boppets are a little bit of a weird choice, but I think the biggest problem here is just the paint job isn't great.
And
He
also,
kind of
they're
looks like he's trying to like
ceremonial-
coordinate
they're,
an
ceremonial
aircraft to
weapons,
land.
right?
That's all
So
I'm
like,
saying.
it kind of
Right.
works.
Can't wait for the ethereal interpretive dance like to come next to control all Tau. Speaking of some kind of interpretation, this is the original Lehman Russ model. I am not joking.
Oh, wow. He sure is something. Another old Warhammer, like really old Warhammer.
I guess when Primarchs were just the first Space Marine chapter master, I wasn't alive for it.
The face is actually all right, to be fair. He's that hairline though.
He just like me.
But let's admit, like the chain sword.
I was going to say it's Rogue Trader-esque to me. It feels like a cutlass.
It looks like a cross between like a rapier and the lightsabers from Star Wars Rebels when they were toothpicks.
Oh yeah,
Hated that.
The dogs sure are dogs.
Yep.
The one on the left is a wolf. The one on the right is a dog.
Like this is like one of the OG models from Games Workshop. You got to give it some leeway.
I'll give it, especially for its time, it looks great.
Yeah.
It's just like it has very clearly been surpassed in every single regard since.
Yeah, I don't like hate it that much because I appreciate it probably when it did come out, people were probably losing their mind. The one on the right is a dog. The one on the left is a wolf. Like, the one on the right is too dog-like. But I don't hate it and think someone's given like a bit of a modern colors to it, so that's kind of cool.
That's cool.
Now the next one is going to get some. We're going to throw some hands about this.
I think my only problem here is his face. His face is not good.
His face makes sense. It makes sense. It's lore accurate.
Yeah, well, you should stop lore accurately edging before he goes into a fight.
Oh my gosh.
This is for the audio listeners. This is the Forge World Fulgrim Horrors Heresy model, and
Hose is cool. His armor is pretty.
true.
He's in anguish and despair because he's fighting Ferrus Manus, his beloved brother.
This Iggy Pop looking motherfucker. I don't know.
The face looks like what's that area in Philadelphia where lots of people are ill from doing
Philadelphia?
not Philadelphia. What's that? It's like a part in America. It's like a certain road or like street area
Skid
where
Row.
loads. Skid Row. Like this is Skid Row the face.
I wish I knew what that was.
Isn't it like it's an area in the
It's
US?
a place in LA where it's like all the glam metal guys used to like hang around in.
The demon model for Fulgrim is $345.
I forgot he has a demon model now.
I was like just trying to find a bigger picture of the regular Fulgrim model, and I was thought, Fulgrim transfigured. Maybe I should order that. No, I'm not.
But what is described as like one of the most beautiful Primarchs by a mile.
But he's not anymore.
His face in like this, man, that looks like a heavy, like that's a heavy drug user face. Like it is swollen.
Oh yeah, that's the point though. It makes
He wasn't
sense.
at that point yet.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying Sanguinius looked beautiful even when he was dead.
That is fun. Fulgrim was freaking. He was fricked up, man.
Eli is a strong copium of
I
Fulgrim.
like
it makes
all of this
sense.
model, but his face. I don't care if it makes sense. It looks bad. His face looks bad.
Malore accuracy.
I don't give a shit. I want model not look bad accuracy.
Speaking from going from ugly Primarchs to perhaps
God, I don't know what this is. Looking at it sucks.
I don't even want to say this is ugly. My beloved, these are some spider
What
goblins.
is this?
They need some dental work.
There's spider goblins. They work from fantasy. They worship spiders, and they start turning into like spider goblin things.
We should also point out for the audio listeners, they have an extra set of limbs.
Their feet. So, brother, if you're into that, you are in luck.
Yeah, baby. Gobble feet.
Oh god, he disgusts me. Yeah, these things are. This is special, man. Like this. I mean, it's kind of good.
Call me ground the paunch because I'm going to be licking those up.
You know what it is? It's like that thing of like, what's the effect where like if someone's in the middle of a crowd and then like they look good in the crowd, but if you see them individually, you're like, oh. So the cheerleader effect, I think it's called. There's a strong cheerleader effect because you look at all these goblins, you're like, that looks cool, and then you see the extra feet, and you're like, oh,
man.
oh man,
They're wacky.
they're all. I mean,
I don't know. I don't like how they're posed with their bums so upright. It's like, no, not into that.
Yeah, I this feels like the author's barely disguised fetish.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
I like the concept of goblins mutating into like spider beings, but I would have liked it done differently.
speaking of something that may be done differently,
Yeah.
maybe not too far in the future, we have
I love this model.
Huron, the OG Huron Blackheart.
What is that thing? Before we go on, what is his little creature thing? What is that?
Yeah, it's like a demon.
It's the Hamadria.
Can you describe it, Eli?
He just had that little fella.
Little guy.
I love that little guy so much.
Kids would say friendship.
Just to remind people, because this far in, we actually are like all people who run lore channels. So, Eli, do you have any particular lore about this little creature for Huron, just for the listeners?
Yeah, he helps Huron pass if people are lying or not.
Yeah. And it's like his little demon familiar. It gives him psychic powers, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, he sits on his shoulder like a parrot.
Yeah. It's definitely in the book, if that I remember, it's more of like an ethereal being. So it's definitely less of a Star Wars thing that Jabba the Hutt would eat at his palace.
The way this is posed, it's almost like the familiar's sitting down waiting for some dinner, and Huron's at a McDonald's like, "Give me the Big Mac." He's hungry, and he's just sitting there patiently like, "I want my food, Dada."
Big Mac, Whopper.
Hamburger, cheeseburger,
Big Mac Whopper,
Big Mac
hamburger,
Whopper.
cheeseburger.
Okay, but like the Huron model is actually really cool. I think if he didn't have that chain
It does not look good.
going down from his belt, it would be a lot better because the chain just like makes it kind of messy. But like he has like spirit stones and Xeno stuff on him, and his claw looks super cool. If you look on like his backpack has a bunch of like gauges and stuff, and his head he has like a metal plate on the side of it. You can barely see it in the picture. He's actually really like detailed and cool model, and like his armor's cracked and stuff. I think it's just too much silver.
I think it's the concept and execution of it are 10s out of 10s. It's just
The proportions are weird.
like it's just old. Like it just hasn't aged well. Like you look at it next to modern models and you're like, God, this is so ugly. Even though like at the time, phenomenal. It's just it needs to be updated.
Yeah, if they just make the same model but tiny bit cleaner and bigger, it'll be perfect.
That sun-dried newt next to him is so ugly.
Yeah, maybe they can make the Hamadria a little different.
No, keep the little fella exactly as he is.
Yeah, you're right. I really hope they give him just the Astartes treatment, and they just make his model bigger and slightly cleaner, and they don't take anything away from it.
Maybe some of the iron chain at the bottom. I think some of that could go.
Maybe make the Iron Halo a bit smaller as well because it's a bit too big.
I really hope they don't take away all of his cool details and just make him a cartoony guy.
That'd be.
Nah, he'll look cool though.
Speaking of that, yeah.
Coteas.
Oh, next we have brothers. The thing that spurred on this entire video.
Our favorite Stormcast Eternal.
He really does. Except the Stormcast Eternal has cool decorations on their armor.
Before we get into it, I have one thing to voice, which is, why is the connection point under the eagle's arm? Why is it not on the? He could have been perched on it. He could have been perched. Why isn't it on his arm?
How does this model and Lamarty's and Astartes come out in the same month? How is that like? Are their teams so disconnected from each other that can happen?
Yeah,
it's just like amazes me.
Yeah, dude.
And there are people who like this model. Whoever you are, I'm going to come and I'm going to.
The thing is, I feel like in a vacuum, this model wouldn't look with just him without the eagle. In a vacuum, if there wasn't a precedent, it would be an okay model. But comparing it to the previous one, it's like there's so much less like flair. He looks weirdly younger than the old model.
He's not a Warhammer mod.
Yeah.
People don't freaking get it. Like people will say, oh, the old one was too messy and had too much detail. Well, you clearly don't understand what Warhammer is, because that was a Warhammer model. This is a sci-fi model, or even fantasy. It doesn't even look like a sci-fi model. It's just a generic fantasy model. If you like this model, you're a slop consumer. Go watch your stupid Disney Star Wars shows. I'll freaking kill you.
Oh my god, chill.
Stop playing Warhammer. I'm a cringe gatekeeper now. I'm gonna gatekeep you out of this hobby if you like this model. That's how much I hate this
That's
model
where
and
he's
how much
drawing the
it
line.
represents the degradation of everything I've ever loved.
What is with the massive belt as well? To keep his cape there?
It's the Power Ranger belt.
I don't know. Take the eye off, and you literally can't tell this model is from War.
I'm an Inquisitor. I have all these. I need belt, please. So you couldn't think of like a slimmer belt to keep your cape on your shoulder?
Yeah, I think he could have done with some slimmer armor too. He looks like he's not wearing it; he's piloting it.
On some slight positives, I will say it is in terms of like as a Warhammer model, it is relatively like you can tell it's like molded well, it's crisp and some point. The painter, whoever got given it, did a pretty good job on the heavy metal part. I mean, like obviously the hammer's got a stone effect painted on, but they didn't have to do that, so that's all right. Now the not so positive stuff is the fact that like I just generally think this might be the laziest design they've ever made.
It's literal slop. It's Captain Marvel, bro. Like it's this is the Marvels as a model, and it's the same people who probably liked the Marvels who like this model.
The fact that the hairline is aggressive, like, and he was bald, and he was a bald old man, like wrinkly old man before, and now he looks like
Worse.
I don't know how to describe it. Like his
Bald old man with a meth habit.
He looks like he has a dwarf face. You know what I mean? Like everything's a bit too out of proportion and large. Like it's like a dwarf is like shrunk down so it looks bigger. This one looks opposite.
Do any of us know how the GW teams work? Like have they moved to the like thing that a lot of companies do where they just hire like they just like commission random people to make a model?
They have an exclusive like digital team that all works on it. And from what I remember chat to Marcel Valrak saying, they're about 3 years ahead of what is basically release schedule. So years ago when we were like, I think when I saw a video of him talking about stuff, he was saying like, oh, you know what, they're probably working on something cool. And 3 years later, the entire World Eaters launch came out at the end of the edition. It was like, damn, that is cool. So they were probably, whatever was happening 3 years ago, which I assume is probably the end of COVID, like actually, technically. So what it is, again, it's not necessarily the modeler's fault. It's the person who approved this, because the modeler is just going off, yeah, they're just doing what they're told. And then they'll say, like, do you want me to add more? And then someone has to say yes or no.
Yeah.
From what I can tell, I've spoken to like a few ex-Games Workshop employees over the year or so. There seems to be like a big problem in the company of like people trying to innovate are quashed, and there's not much collaboration between departments. So it's all very top down. It's all very siphoned off.
Wow. It's almost like the problem in every single media industry right now.
It just seems like there's like a lot of like rely on what's proven, try not to add anything new, don't question old wisdom is like a pervading thing. Though again, I never worked at Games Worker, but I don't know the details. But it seems like they don't really have a good connection.
Just assume it's just the same as like, yeah, it's probably the same as every like video game industry company where the artists and stuff come up with all this stuff, and then the one guy in the suit comes in and says, I don't want any of that. Give me this instead.
I want it to look like Star Wars.
There's a big disconnect clearly between whoever was in charge of producing the artwork and producing the model, because they do not look similar at all. The artwork for the Codex is pretty much what everyone wanted, so this is clearly not that.
Well, it's because I don't know. It's because they don't like the old artwork stuff as much anymore, I guess.
Even the Codex cover is exactly what we wanted.
Yeah, that's not new art though. Like that was already around. But anyway, in my like old Warhammer video, this is obviously take it with a grain of salt. But some guy in the comments said that he used to work at GW, and he was actually the one who like did the diorama pictures that I was talking about. And he said the like lore team and the art team and the model team used to all work together, and like Andy said, they've all been separated now, so there's no connection between any of it, which is like very clear when you just look at everything.
Well, speaking of what was clearly a big disconnect, is the next piece here.
All right. Now, hang on. Before we start, say one bad thing about this model that isn't he's too fat.
Always standing on a stone. It's the tactical rock.
He's Astartes Moloch copy and pasted to be a short custodian. He's just like me.
Audio listeners, this is the recent Custodian launch with the melter attachment to the Guardian Spear.
I feel insane because I don't really dislike this. I like this model.
Yeah, I don't hate it either, Colin. I don't actually hate it. It's just the proportion that people hate.
Yeah, it's kind of silly looking, but I mean, we've had tactical Marines for 20 years. However, those were goofy in proportion, not super accurately, but they're still classic.
I like this guy's cape. I like his helmet and his shield. His breastplate really does just kind of look like a Sigmar thing again, but
it could be a little bit more detailed, but I don't know. He's also got the belt and stuff, so
it's very. He looks very like, I don't know, Roman or Greek, one of the two.
I think the plume. I find the back plume odd, very odd.
Yeah, the mohawk plume is weird.
It generally looks like he's got like a boat sail behind his head.
If they made him taller and put his head a bit closer to the top, it probably would look better.
This man is, I mean, we're just not addressing the issue here. This thing is like squashed.
Yeah, he's missing a torso.
Yeah.
Like, this is actually, no, correction, this is two squats, one standing on top of the other in the trench coat, and he's pretending to be a custodian.
It's 3 squats. It's 1 in each leg and 1 for the upper body.
Also, to it, his face is like the pose like they have on his face shows a level of seriousness I didn't know Warhammer models could have. That thing is like properly like, who ate the last piece of cake, you scum?
Looks constipated.
Yeah, it looks.
He kind of looks like he's wearing eyeliner.
All right, well, you were defending Fulcrum, so I don't want to hear criticism about the eyeliner.
Yeah, I'm not hating. I like this model. I'm not really a hater of this model. I do think it's pretty cool.
I don't think I hate it. There's like so many pieces of it I do like, and then you put it all together and I don't like it.
Fair enough. I like the sword gun or the spear gun.
Speaking of some next pieces here, we have.
Why is this Eldar so thick?
Well, this is a somewhat recent, like a few years ago, Inquisitor model that came out. I can't remember the name of the Inquisitor. This is one of Ordos Xenos, is it? I believe, and it's actually more recent. If it was Hereticus, it might be in a Hereticus actually. To be fair, yeah, in the more recent box sets at the time of recording. And when this model dropped, everyone was like, "This is a female human Inquisitor," and they were confused because the face.
She looks vaguely confused. She's not quite sure why she just entered this room.
Yeah. Oh, is she an Eldar or is she a Navigator?
Human.
What's the thing on her forehead? Just a mark?
Tattoo. Imperial brand.
She's a human Inquisitor.
Okay, I guess you just can't really tell from the picture.
It's the thing is, you'd expect her to be scowling or snarling, but instead she's just kind of there like.
I like this spacesuit actually, but it would go better on a Leagues of Votann model than it would.
I was going to say it looks more like a vampire, like Lord armor, like the way the spikes kind of line up. Ignoring the power fist, obviously, but
the paint job is really cool,
especially the knee plating and stuff. It's got that medieval knight aesthetic.
Use this army in your vampire or your Soulblight Gravelord's army. Don't use it for anything else.
The face, though, is. Like, it just, again, it looks like someone copied the Yvrain face and then they thought no one would notice the homework was copied. It's not hideous, but it's just.
It is like they didn't know if they wanted to make a fantasy model or a sci-fi model, and they kind of just put in whatever they felt like.
I must say, it must be a bit of a boring job considering how many bold characters there are in Warhammer to be like, okay, you can't use any hair, you've barely got eyelashes, how are you going to make them distinctly look different with just bone structure? It's like, put a tattoo on her face, I guess. Yeah.
The power fist makes it look like her arm is just her fist, and there's no actual arm.
Well, I think she's human size, isn't she, as well? So she's.
But like from how it looks, she could barely move that thing.
You can make humans wear like power fist style objects though, like the what is it the like that thing from Fallout, like the Fallout for the. Yeah, that thing. Like, you can do that concept and make it look natural on a normal human.
You can make a really cool freaking like Grave Knight or Blood Knight or something out of this model with conversion stuff, or like some kind of cool vampire space marine thing.
Well, speaking of a face only a mother could love, the next one is my beloved, the Gene Stealer Patriarch and Magus on their golden throne. Eli, could you please describe this for the listeners?
Well, behind the golden throne is a little dude whispering to an absolute bloat lord, an absolute lad of a thing. This guy has been out in the sun for a very long time. It's like he's got the dried out SpongeBob skin from the movie.
Which way is his hand facing?
And he's really fat.
What is one facing? Wait,
Which way is the hand on his chest? Is it facing up or is it facing down?
Doesn't matter. Irrelevant.
No.
He is conniving, and I think he has. I can't tell how many arms he has.
Looks like if you cross Two-Face with the Penguin.
Yeah, that's a third arm. He's got one on his left knee, one on his right knee, and then he's got like the third one just kind of slopped on his beer gut. That's kind of cool.
He's also got his claws.
Or is it 4? Yeah, I think he's got 4 arms. He's got like 2 clawed hands and 2 hands. So like he's got 4.
But wait. But on the one side he has the claw hand and one hand, and then on the other side he has the claws, but a hand grasping the hand and then a hand on his knee.
Why does the throne has feet and the Magus has Uggs on?
He's comfy in his pink pants. He's got pink sweatpants.
I love the throne, especially like the little grumpy face on like the arches of the hand bits where you put your hands. They're great.
Regardless of Big Hoss over here, however you feel about him, I wish GW made more models like this. They were like dioramas that they might not have rules, but they're fun to collect and paint.
Yeah. Although they kind of did that with St. Catherine. I like that. I have that model. I'm building it. The freaking Magus is posted up in his cozy clothes, though, dude. He's got pink sweatpants, slippers, a bathrobe on. Like,
how else would you do it?
He's comfy. Oh, this is one of my favorite models ever made.
That face is like, I don't know how to describe it. He's a crossover of Jabba the Hutt, but he was flayed a bit and then some jeans.
You know what it reminds me of? Have you ever seen the Super Mario Bros. Movie with Bowser? Where it's like, it's an abomination. It's like, we're going to make a Mario movie, a live action Mario movie, and the Koopas are all like, no, it's like that to me. It's weird. I feel like the kit bashing potential or conversion potential with just that throne is good, though. I wish I'd seen more stuff with that.
Shout out to the gold ring he has on his left hand. His pimp hand. His pimp hand for slapping all the niggas who disrespect him and come to his house and disrespect them, man. You come to me on the day of my ascension and you disrespect my daughters.
This guy's called Giovanni. There you go.
Yeah, his feet remind me of Spore. Did you guys ever play that?
Oh, yeah. Spore game. Wow.
That's something you put on your Spore creature.
I feel like he sounds like this, like zubba zubba. Like
he's bossing ass and
I want to get more of my genes into my system. Give me more genes.
Speaking of someone who probably talks like Brown Note, someone who's heard Brown Note, this next model is the.
No, you're all wrong. You know what she's doing? You're all getting mogged.
Oh.
Yeah, she's mewing right now, bro.
Oh my gosh, she is totally mewing.
Zoomer language I don't understand.
There are parts of this model that I like. The dogmatic, I think, is what she's
dogmatic.
Called. I like the I like the candles. The mewing is extremely funny. I can't believe she's doing the freaking Chad mew face. Oh my god.
The eyebrows are at right angles. It's so impressive. Does everyone else hear the Vine sound effect right now?
Oh yeah, Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
It's like, you want to help out, sister? Yes, duff. It's the Vine sound.
I love this model because I saw it and he's just fucking mewing.
I must say the confidence is overwhelming.
Oh my gosh, she's got the freaking Mickey Mouse gloves on too. And they look like they're floating, kind of. Oh man, I thought this model was cool when I saw it as just like a tiny little picture on like the buy thing, and now that I've seen the bigger version,
in person, like the art where like just the arm posing is horrific. Like it's just straight up. Like this thing has like it's got a triangle of like cape in the middle. It's got a napkin bib.
I gotta stop looking at this freaking face. Oh my gosh, man. It's too funny. We gotta keep moving.
Speaking of the next one, there's a bit of a group session here because this is the OG Demon Primarch models with their like equivalents. So on the left here for the audio listeners, we have on top is the modern Magnus the Red, and below it is I can only describe as like the very original. I think I mean Wizard of Oz looking creepers.
What if Brian Blessed was in the Avatar movie? There, done.
With like ginger beard, like weird wings. I don't even know if that's like if he's sitting on like a basket or if that's his like loincloth.
I think this is loincloth, surely.
Horrific. Mortarion in the center left is essentially that's just a Reaper with like what looks like a harp on each side of him rather than wings. Angron, I mean that's a kind of an iconic like bloodletter.
Angron looking like the demon from the Tenacious D film. Like, yeah. Dave,
you can't tell me you like Angron more than Monkey Mode Magnus. Come on.
The wings are just flat plastic metal, I guess, at this point. There's no webbing in the wings or anything.
The OG Fulgrim one is the OG Fulgrim one. I'm pretty sure I've had a gummy worm look like that. Like
the whip he's holding. I know that whips aren't supposed to be solid, but it just looks so flaccid. It looks so flaccid, dude.
It's like you beat a snake to death, then held it.
Yeah,
like a naughty child. That is horrendous.
Fulgrim trying to redeem himself with his flaccid opening.
They make me just think of like toys, like old Transformer toys or something.
God, that is. I think, boys, rate which one out of all of them is the worst. Then, what do you think?
Mortarion, I hate him. He's just dull.
Yeah, but he's.
I'd honestly go Fulgrim. I do not like. No, I'd go Angron. I don't like Angron.
Wow,
it's just boring.
Yeah, it's like true. Honestly,
more than Mortarion, it's just like the Grim Reaper ripoff.
The Magnus one just looks offensive.
Oh come on!
I don't know. It just looks like it's horrific. It's offensive to my eyes. It's offensive to my eyes. I hate it.
Yeah, I don't. The other ones at least have some uniqueness. I agree with Colin. Angron is just.
Mortarion has uniqueness. It's just the Grim Reaper.
What is the Grim Reaper?
It's a copy paste. That's rubbish. At least Angron's like owning, like, I'm going to let my wings out and show the world. Cool.
Moving on to what perhaps maybe is not a bad model necessarily, but is this ugly?
This was the nail in the coffin, dude. This is when people started being mean to Space Wolves players. This caused the beginning of the end for all Space Wolf bros. This is why the furry meme exists.
Yeah.
We're looking at a Wolfen model.
Oof.
And it's just so.
It's the fact that the feet blend in so smoothly to the knee.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's literally if you gave a Space Wolf like I mean like I can't I don't even like it just makes me so sad. Because it's like you took somebody and partially transformed them into a werewolf with like a TikTok filter. It's like have you seen those super cheesy videos where they're like you unleash the beast in me, and then they do like the howl, and then they put on like the filter for like the werewolf thing.
Or when you get those TikToks where it's like girls with a cat sat on their lap, and then they put the cat filter on, and then the cat looks at the phone and freaks out and goes, huh? And then it looks back and forth. It's like that, but with a wolf.
If you took out the face and the fuzzy feet, this is a super cool model. It's got like the gun thing on his backpack. He has the ice claws. It's just, he just looks like if I don't even know. This is like he's got the 2000s haircut, like
Guy Fieri looking guy, you know.
It's just so they made them so corny, I guess. Maybe that's how
I guess you could kit bash, like put some mechanical legs in to swap out the furry feet.
Just a bit of Space Marine legs on it. Just normal Space Marine legs.
But they didn't make them. They didn't. I guess how to describe it. They didn't make them look bestial. They make them look like they're wearing costumes or something. Because they could have done. I think they probably could have made these really cool.
It's the wrong side of werewolf.
Yeah, if they just completely covered them in hair,
or maybe like little patches of like outbreaks of fur, but it's not the whole arm and stuff. Just like you could see signs of it, but it's a bit bedraggled.
The face is probably the main issue, I guess.
For the next one, Colin, may you please take the lead.
How dare you? I'm pulling an Eli with Fulgrim. How dare you make fun of glorious Tradgash?
Technically, this next model is somewhat ugly, but it's so iconic that I feel like we couldn't not mention it at least.
This is the glorious old Nagash.
He's right up there with the Gene Stealer calls Patriarch.
Dude, he's beautiful. His purple flowing robe, his sword and staff do actually kind of look just pretty cool. His wonderful skeletal.
He's a D&D boss, bro.
I'm about to shit your pants face. His weird hat that looks like he stole it from like a Halloween City, Spirit Halloween. Although, fun fact, I know the story behind why he looks like this.
Yeah, I remember you talking about it.
The modeler wanted him to have more of like a desiccated corpse kind of look, like look like a not skeletal, but that guy's higher ups were like, no, we want him to look like a skeleton. So the modeler gave him the dumbest skeleton face he could possibly create, in the hopes that they would reject it and then let him do his thing, and then they approved it.
Yeah.
And then for that, we have the most glorious necromancer model ever.
He again has like the perfect first edition D&D look.
I love the shoulder pads though. They're just
oh yeah, dude, he could kill someone with those things.
Yeah, they're amazing. But you can just tell he was like, when he woke up and he's like, I'm going to say, I'm putting on something fancy. Like, yep, good for you, mate.
His gauntlet looks pretty cool too.
Shout out to how good the paint job is, by the way, on this model.
Yeah, the purple
and like
awesome.
this
it is beautiful.
Oh, like flawless. It's just the face is the goofy
and
thing.
also like the skulls on the staff and how there's like a nice kind of like aging effect on that. It looks really good.
Perfect, flawless.
But it's so ugly. It's come back round to being
like a pug.
Yes. The next one's Eli. I believe these are some that you
Dragon.
Yeah, this is the dragon from Middle Earth strategy battle game.
Why does he look like that?
It's just like it's like a toy dragon. It's also one of the most useless models in the game because it has, if I remember correctly, it has a rule that's like bestial instincts type of thing, where if you wound it, it has to make a courage check, and if it fails, it runs away. And the model that you just spent like a gorillion points on just ran away. Yeah, and it is. It's not that ugly, but it is, again, just like you could go buy one of those toy plastic dragons from like the toy section at the drugstore.
Why is it like, it's like a dog dragon? Like it looks off. Like it prefers to run rather than fly.
Andy didn't put my model in the thing. I guess that's my job.
What did what? I put things. What?
I sent you I'm
being blamed for things.
No, it's not your fault. It's not your fault.
We do have another one from you, Eli.
Yeah, there is. These are just like the general hobbits. Fatty Bulger looks like he's been through it, dude. Fatty Bulger is shell shocked, man.
He's got the way he's like pushing his gut out. He's just like, "You what, mate?" As he like he waddles towards you, beat you up for your fish and chip money. What's going on?
He's seen something.
What's really sad is like all of these faces I've seen in my local pub.
Lobelia's eyes are not even.
The faces look like an AI image, like when it fucks up the face.
I just can't believe how like hollow Fatty Bulger looks. He's
hollow.
He was in the trenches on freaking D-Day, dude. Like, oh my gosh.
The lady in the middle looked like her face got stepped on.
Oh.
That dude survived a chlorine gas tank and his friends didn't.
Oh my gosh.
That's what that
Oh
is.
dear.
Well, for our last model, we have the glorious Capital Imperialis.
What is that? That's like a cardboard
Yeah.
box.
That's awesome.
Dude, when are we getting this thing back?
It's modern point. It has modern rules, at least for like 7th edition. It's 1,600 points. It can carry 100 dudes and Bane blades.
That thing is, bro. That is someone's bread bin at the moment, or like toaster.
That's the goddamn Jawa thing.
It is.
The Sandcrawler. Yeah, the land.
Wow.
I must admit that is like I'm just getting a bit of an existential crisis. There's like you can see just in front of the picture. There's that tank with like the antenna, and I can just imagine those snapping off trying to put them inside.
Oh god.
This thing must be like a foot tall.
I can't wait to one day see someone bring it to a tournament. Just like, oh, I've got my Farsight Enclave now, and I've got my Syrah, and then just one guy with like a gigantic box, and you just hear it just go.
How was the word mini involved in that? I didn't even know that existed. That is
I don't know if that's an actual mini or if it was like when they made for this White Dwarf picture.
it just looks low budget though. Why did it look low budget?
Cause that's when like they might have just made it for this like battle report or something, but I'm not sure.
Because they made like pretty large Ordinatus platforms as well in the past, and they were quite goofy looking, but they were massive as well. But
Because it is like it has rules, and that is how the picture looks.
I guess it was maybe like one of those things where you have to like maybe sign up to a magazine and they make it bespoke and you have to pay in installments. Like, yeah, this is like a mission to get this thing to my house back in the 90s.
I do like the banner and decal things on the side, so those are nice. I feel like if they weren't there, like I'm not even sure I would acknowledge that thing even existed. That sure is a model. Wow, that's a lot of models, boys. Please let us know, by people made it this far. Let us know which ones you think were the ugliest. You have to just let us know as we.
Which one would you like to
it.
have? I'd love a Capital Imperialis. I would have that.
Oh, please.
Shout out to your least favorite member of Astartes Anonymous too. So we just not joking.
They'll never let us back.
I think with that though, we've also got a small part at the end here. Do we, Andy? I think it's.
I think we'll cap off with the episode, and then we add it in the post credits.
Okay, my bad. I guess well. With that being said, though, I think hopefully everyone enjoyed this little takeover from LoreCrimes.
Thank you for coming to Astartes Anonymous. Subscribe to LoreCrimes if you want to see more Astartes Anonymous.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, we do live hangouts on our channel, so we plan to absolutely take on Astartes Anonymous in terms of some gaming stuff in the future. So we will
kill him in Dawn of War.
Yeah,
it will happen.
Loser has to give up their own channel, so you know.
This is. They got to put this on their channel. I'm coming. I'll just say it. I'm gonna obliterate them in Space Marine 2.
There's a rivalry already.
We're coming for you, boys. With that being said, though, thank you guys so much for listening and watching. We're just we're a little favor here to step in and give a little help out to our poor Astartes Anonymous brothers in need, and we very much enjoyed disrespecting some ugly GW models. But some of them are gems amongst them. We've been LoreCrimes buddies here, and thank you guys so much for watching and listening.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye. Love you.
Bonsoir, mes chéris. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you got this far, why don't you hit that like, smash the subscribe button, and rock that bell before you check out our other social medias, like Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. And if you're feeling extra saucy tonight, why don't you hop on over to our Patreon where you can help steer our content. And finally, join our Discord where you can talk to me and the rest of the gang. Alright, take care now and see you next time. Au revoir.
So Tom has forwarded to me the Patreon questions for this episode, and the first one comes from Hive Tyrant, who asks, what is or was your favorite model to build and paint? Well, maybe we start with Hal, Mr. Oh, look at me, I'm well good at painting, and I have all these miniatures, and I just threw this together in an afternoon. It's like Golden Demon ready. Oh,
jealousy.
Love you, really.
Truly jealousy.
Yeah, true jealous. Yeah.
If he didn't care, like this is coming from the guy who's told us about the crazy idea of model he's about to embark. So I'm like, okay. Thank you, brother, for the question. The most amount of fun I've had, I think, particularly recent. I did enjoy making and building. Actually, no, I didn't enjoy building Magnus at all. Mine didn't fit properly. Take that back. I liked building my Angron World Eater's proxy model because it is made out of Usharan. I thought I'm not going to go to a tournament, so I'm just going to pick a model that I could just use whatever I want and just say it's a Primarch. So I picked Usharan, who is the undead ghoul king thing from Age of Sigmar, and I converted him up into my Angron proxy. He currently has a spare sword I stole from Magnus the Red in his left hand, and the right hand he has that like cool mace. And yeah, I'm just actually, to be fair, I've built him up. I've made his base all looking cool. He's got he came like his own like stone sort of pillar things he's standing on. I've added like extra pieces to it, made like an actual graveyard he's in. Might try something cool where certain parts of the miniature is essentially all black, and then I might just only have like small dots of light where the model is painted because I'm lazy, so I can only have to paint like a third of the model. So I had fun building that because it's the first time I've done like a proper big kit bash.
What about you, Colin?
So I am. Mine was pretty simple. Gotcha from Age of Sigmar. That model was fun to put together, a lot of fun to paint. Good stuff. Simple as.
And Eli?
I'm trying to think. I really, really loved building my Tau Crisis suits. That was really fun. And I built models. I still haven't painted them. Classic. But I have models for the 8, like Farsight's 8, and I posed them all in the same way that they're posed in the artwork.
Oh, nice.
That was really fun to build. Of course, none of these rules exist anymore. But it's fine. But yeah, I think that. And then my favorite models to paint have definitely been Lord of the Rings models. They're, I find them very, I don't know if easy is the right word, but I find the colors a lot easier to figure out for some reason. I'm not super smart with color theory, but I can make my Middle-earth models look really good. A model that isn't so fun to build, the Rock Grinder from the Gene Stealer cults. Good lord, why? It's that model. That model's literally over 100 pieces. It's crazy.
That model is the devil.
Yeah. If you look at the model, I'm pulling up a picture. If you look at that model, each little blade on the front of that model is a separate piece, and you have to put together.
Damn.
I don't know. I do love my Gene Stealers, but building that model was okay. Actually, other than the blades, it was fun to build. It just took a long time.
GW trying their best to actively discourage anyone from playing Gene Stealers.
Yeah.
I think that the blades might have even been 2 pieces each or something ludicrous like that. But other than that, it was fun. So yeah, that was my answer.
I mean, I haven't really got back into painting much, but I have got a little. It's going to sound very twee, but I've got a little box of Primaris 10th edition, the starter box with 3 little Primaris Space Marines, which snap together, ultramarine color palette. I'm I'll be able to put them together as ease me in and then start painting some other miniatures. So I'll see how it goes, nice. But I've yet to get back into the painting hobby. And the other question we had from the patrons of Astartes Anonymous is from Lufurius, who said, what is your most unhinged hot take, TM, in brackets, any topic? No, you're not allowed to explain.
Not allowed to explain. That's tough. I have 2. And one that's going to really annoy Arthur Bones. The Leagues of Votann are a terrible idea and contribution to Warhammer in general.
You see, everyone, this is because they're not Primarchs with 5 million pages of
I'm not going to
worthless
explain it.
backstory.
I'll just say I'm specifically saying not the models, just the overall aesthetic of and the fact that Leagues of Votann is an entire army. And I can't explain it though. And then my second one,
You don't even need to get Arthur Bones. I'm offended on his behalf, and I don't even like him that much.
I can't explain it. Obviously, yeah, I've said it before many times. And my second one is that Vulcan is a terrible Primarch.
We can't go one single podcast without talking about Salamander.
It's a proper hot take.
Oh yeah, you're right. I was just telling the EA guys yesterday that we don't go a single podcast without talking about how bad the Salamander is. We've kept that record going.
I'm consistent. What about you, brothers?
Eli, you want to go next?
Sure, I might even end up stealing one of yours if I remember what it was. Although I might have just forgotten what.
Would you like me to go while you cook again?
Well, I have my one for sure. I guess my hot take is that. Oh yeah, I remember what my second one now. I'm gonna say it before I forget. The one that I might be stealing from Colin is that I love Matt Ward, and Matt Ward lore is awesome, and Warhammer would be a better place if Matt Ward was still in it.
Except for the Blood Knights. I'm not going to defend the Blood Knights.
Fair. My second opinion is every single faction in Warhammer, Leagues of Votann might be harder to argue for, admittedly, but not necessarily. Every single faction in Warhammer has things that are really cool about them, and I think that everyone who likes any faction is justified, and that every faction in Warhammer is cool. Every Space Marine chapter, every Xenos, all that stuff.
I like that hot take. It's a good one.
Thanks, honey.
No problem. My hot take, the Horus Heresy was better when we knew almost nothing about it. Those books have detrimentally or unfortunately affected the setting. It was better as a mystery like the War in Heaven.
The Horus Heresy and its consequences
have been a disaster for the 40k race.
That is a proper hot take, isn't it?
Oh dear.
That's steaming.
No explaining it, so you just have to stew in it, audience.
Well, also, 90% of new things in Warhammer suck.
New thing bad. I hate new.
I hate new things.
Go back to old.
I hate generic sci-fi. I love Warhammer.
I don't really have many hot takes. I'll just say I actually think Primaris are pretty cool.
Ooh.
Let's kill this guy.
Kill him. I was going to say my second hot take is I think Age of Sigmar is good and cool.
Fair enough.
That's not as hot as that would have been a few years ago.
Yeah, it's been cooked. It's cooked.
Yeah, no, it's good. You'll still find him on Twitter though. You know, it's been 10 years of Age of Shitmar, and here's to another 10.
Age of Sigmar is really cool. Like, just Hal mentioning Usharan, that gave me the itch to buy the Flesh Eater Quartz box, and I can't. I'm never gonna use it. I'm not gonna do it. But every time I see that model, I want to buy it.
Do it.
Shush you. I'm not gonna lie. When I was spewing in my Necron lore the other day, that is gone to the wind and will never be heard, other than by Moots and Red and Aaron. I actually asked my local game store to order me the classic Deceiver and Nightbringer models because holy cow, I love those things.
Nice.
Speaking of good models. Anyways.
Astartes anonymous, but go subscribe to LoreCrimes.
Please.
We're funnier, we promise.
True and real.
Our takes are hotter and our Riz is stronger.
And we ramble for a lot longer. We have like 3-hour episodes sometimes.
Because we're just yapping.
Yeah, baby. I mean, technically there was 3 hours of recording in the AA episode that I was in. I just only recorded an hour of it.
Our combined height is also shorter, so respectfully.
Well, Moots is as short as me.
I mean, to be honest, I've met Aaron, I've met Tom. I think I'm about the same height, if not taller. So,
Oh, the AA or Moots and Aaron did ask, like, if we 1v1s, how would the fight go? So
One of us versus like them in one go.
yeah, I said that Andy could beat somebody. Hal was a wild card, and Colin might die. Sorry, Colin. I'm sorry.
I'm not a strong man.
Did I get to brown belt? Karate, I don't remember.
This guy would have a brown belt.
I didn't get to black belt. That was a while ago.
I know a bit of jiu-jitsu, but that's it.
Thank you guys for listening. Appreciate you. We're here every week now. They don't even exist anymore. We murdered them.
This is our channel now.
We're taking over.
They were weak. We combined our minds, and our Warhammer lore was stronger.
Welcome to We Anonymous.
We absorbed them into our souls.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.